Okay, we did it. We finished Resident Evil 8. No spoilerinos for anyone here, okay? It's all right. If you're watching, no spoilers. It's all good, okay? Um, I finished it, and I think it's a wonderfully constructed game. I think it's excellent. But why am I talking about it? Well, first of all, of course, that's to announce that I was the first person to beat Resident Evil 8 on hardcore mode. Actually, world record, the first and the fastest. All right. An achievement, I'll be carrying with me to my grave. The trophy, weighs heavily on my back. The burden of talent, great time it was. It was a good game. Actually, the thing I want to talk about specifically with it, I actually want to talk about fan service. I mean, I could talk about how the game's super good and everything, but I mean, if you've taken a look at any of the social media buzz around the game, it's been about the big booby vampire lady, Dimitrescu. Yeah, and can we get a just an image on screen for any of the entire 5 people who haven't seen any of this on social media? I genuinely don't know what kind of life you would be living to have not seen a ton of images of this woman. It's utterly beyond me. I mean, this must be like you're in some sort of like on the run from the world. You get your news by getting monthly drop-offs of newspapers type dealio. You've like wandered to a library to try to refamiliarize yourself with modern society, and this is a video you popped up on, which, great. Hey, maybe you just came out of prison. I don't know. Anyway, so fan service is something that people bicker about online all the time, and usually the dialogue goes a little something like this. People on the left say that a game is misogynistic or demeaning or what have you because it has way too much fan service. Like the boobies are too out, or the women's outfits are impractical, or whatever. And then people, not even people on the right, really, just people that aren't on the left, will say, sometimes even people on the left, they'll say, no, 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 fan service is amazing, big booba, et cetera, no big deal. Why do you complain? Why are you morally policing us? So on and so forth. And I think this discourse is really unproductive every time it takes place for a couple of reasons. All right. First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with liking fan service in your games, but you should also be open to artistic critique. And you can't deny it's pretty weird that there are entire like game series and genres where the women essentially just exist to provide like sexual gratification to look at them, and like that's it. Like men are like the whole world of the game, and then the women are just the eye candy. Like, I'm not saying you're some sort of horrible, terrible person if you like that, or even if you produce that. It's something to talk about at least, right? Can we at least agree it's something just worth talking about? Sometimes the discourse gets really dumb though. Like, this woman, this is a lizard person. How can she have boobs? Lizards don't have boobs. Like this, whatever. Okay. But cutting through all of that nonsense, the thing that I care about most here is you may have noticed nobody on social media is complaining about this. Now, Lady Dimitrescu over here is a mommy dummy. I mean, she's like 9 feet tall, prominent boobs and cleavage. Her dress hugs her ass. She walks around and, talks about how she's got man thing, and she's like, with the big claws. And I mean, it's not like the traditional way women are sexualized, but yeah, she's got a fat dumpy. It's definitely sexualization. Nobody's complaining. Why? Well, I think it's because Resident Evil 8 might be one of the best invocations of fan service I've ever seen. Porn and fan service are both forms of art, right? You want to do it well. I mean, if all it took was like boobs, then everyone would just like look at a picture of a boob, a single boob, and that'd be it. No, of course not. Context and presentation mean a lot to how effective any erotic imagery is. Even if we're talking light stuff, like in a video game that's just designed to have like hot characters, that's why you play the JRPGs. That's why even when you're looking at video games that have ridiculously sexualized costumes and outfits for women, they put a lot of effort into making those costumes interesting, don't they? The context means a lot. So I like it when there are new takes on basically any artistic medium or any artistic endeavor, including fan service. And I think this one's pretty novel as ones go. Like this. I've never seen a video game lean into this type of thing before. Like, usually the hot video game lady is, if you're playing a game from Japan, it's something that looks like a child, but it's 1,000 years old. That's not good. And if it's something from the West, it's usually just like a really skinny, tall lady, not wearing much clothing, big booby. And for some reason, usually they don't have fat asses either, which free the ass. But one of the problems with that type of fan service isn't just the sexualization, it's that it always leans into the same type of sexualization. It's really artistically unfulfilling, which makes it less defensible, you know? I think you can get away with anything if it's artistically defensible, like if there's art put into it, you know? That's the difference between, say, a really well-written story that has like themes of coercion, sexual assault, or rape, like Berserk, which you all should be reading, or a really trashy like TV series that just uses rape as like lazy drama and character backstory. You know what I mean? People complain about the latter, not so much the former, because if something's done well, it becomes defensible. Even if it's a problematic trope, if it's done well, people will defend it. And I just really like what they did in Resident Evil 8 because they incorporated the elements that made Lady Dimitrescu attractive into the way you played around her in the game, you know? She's a mommy dummy. She's demeaning to you, but like in almost a playful way. She's big and strong, and the way her clothes hug her isn't like, it's not like volleyball beach outfit tight, but it's more of a like, you know, uh you've been invited along with the rest of your family to go to like the Southern Bells mansion for some sort of like big get together in the neighborhood, and there's some absurdly sexy like MILF that keeps stomping around and asking you to help her carry lemonade, and you get a feeling that maybe she's flirting with you but you can't tell, and it could be she's just really really friendly and you don't know. She is married, but she also kind of wanders with her eyes, and she's really hot, and that kind of stuff, you know? Whole new vibe. Good stuff. This is very specific, very elaborate. Have you all never been around like a single older woman who gave you those kinds of vibes at some point when you were a kid, maybe? At any point? I'm sure at least some of you have. No? Well, I was a little bit over specific for like narrative drama there, but you've never been around like an older woman, she's just come like vaguely flirtatious and she's very hot, but you don't like know. Okay, well, at the very least, a lot of you have fantasized about it, right? This is not exactly an uncommon. It's MILFs. I mean, this is one of the. Yeah. You people are making this hard for me. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. Jesus. All of you shut up. The point here is that I appreciate them doing fan service in a new, interesting, and unique way. I know it sounds like, like I'm giving them too much credit, like new and unique way. What if it was a MILF instead of like a young adult? But the way they incorporate it genuinely was like well received and interesting. And I know that because the entire goddamn internet is still aflame with fan art and pornography of Lady Dimitrescu, and nobody complains about how over sexualized she is at all. Seriously. It's also, by the way, a really, really good contributor to the point that sometimes subtlety is way better than going over the top. There would be way, way, way less fanfare about Dimitrescu if she walked around wearing like a swimsuit. I swear to God, there would be. There would be way, way, way less. There'd be the initial titillation, and people would be like, "Oh my God, she's wandering around in a swimsuit." But the broader, like the obsession would not be there. It's directly derived from the aesthetic they really leaned into, which required a bit of subtlety on their part, you know? And I respect that. I respect the hell out of that. So anyway, good fan service, done well. Yeah. Intentionally fitted clothes just hit different. Yeah, I mean the character model was, I mean, hold on. Maybe we can get like another camera angle possibly here. I mean, you can look at I mean, you can just Google like Lady Dimitrescu or RE8 vampire or really anything to that effect. I mean, what's the the MILF angle they're going for here? Not only did they like very much make her like an older woman, The scene where you're standing outside the window and she's on the phone and she's just lording over you. I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing. When you're like looking up at her on the phone, you have to like crane your neck up to see. They knew exactly what they were leaning into. They could have played hard into traditional ways of sexualizing women, but you know, they just nailed it, I think. Anyway, RE8, really great game. Didn't get paid to say this, actually, if you can believe it. There were also shots where her dump truck ass was in full view. Yeah, but in like what felt like a character appropriate piece of clothing, which made, which elevated, I think, the overall aesthetic. Um, you all know what I'm talking about, right? It's just good fan service. And I think it's demonstration of the fact that a lot of the people on the left really don't have a problem with fan service at all. They have they have a problem with bad fan service, you know? It's about elevating the medium, you know? Criticism of an art form like video games or whatever can be used to facilitate the improvement of elements of that art form. If fan service is being done really poorly, and I think for the most part it is done really poorly. Yeah, for the most part, fan service in video games is just, even if you leave out the misogyny stuff, it's just very unartful or inartful, unartistic. It's just very little artistic effort is put into it. And then most anime, yeah, and then most anime too, just low effort stuff, artless. Thank you. So if you put effort in, people like it more, less complaining, and you get all the free advertising that RE8 has had. By the way, spoilers: Lady Dimitrescu makes up a very small portion of the actual entire game. All the discourse online about Lady Dimitrescu made me think that she would be the main villain of that game, the one that she'd be like the whole antagonistic force, which isn't the case. People just like her so much that that's the impression I got based on the fan response. So people really really like that, you know. Anyway, that's all I have to say.